So this all or nothing thinking. So there's a sense of release from the past mistakes. You're like, but as soon as I slip up, my brain convinces me the thing, be it a goal, the job, the relationship, is ruined. So it's very precarious. It's like you're walking on eggshells of your own life. That's really scary, isn't it? Hello, hello, everybody. Oh my goodness. It brings me so much joy having you all coming on. I always feel like I've just made this beautiful dinner for everyone, and I'm just welcoming you into my home, and we're just having this really wonderful conversation. So I do want to encourage you to look at this as we're learning together. We're here. We're understanding what's really going on, because so many of us just want to live a life that feels amazing and awesome. And a lot of us don't understand why we aren't. And like Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. And I did not understand so much of what I know now. And part of me gets really upset that I'm like, why didn't I know this earlier? It would have helped me so much raising my kids and all of that. But I just have to trust that it was all in the right timing. So please let me know where you're from. You can use the Q&A and we can communicate that way. Make sure that you can hear me all right. Yeah, so let me know. I've got Saskatchewan. Where else are people from here? Utah. I love it. Yeah, we've got, okay, so put it in the Q&A. Oh, here we go. Love it. Okie dokie. Oh, Kansas. Excellent. Okay. So today I'm going to debunk some pretty profound psychological challenge, and it's going to be really helpful for you, because I've used resources from like therapy and understanding why the brain does what it does. So the more that we can understand why, we can make different changes. Okay. So nothing's wrong with you. You aren't broken. It's just that you just need to, like when you know better, you do better. Okay. So that's why I'm here to help you with that. Okay. So let's go into why fresh starts are always going to sabotage you. So let's look at what is the real problem here. Why isn't your body how you want it? So I'm not talking about wrinkles. I'm not talking about, your height. We are born with what we have. So what is it that is, why does your body weigh what it weighs? Now, what have you done in the past? Or what are you doing right now? Even people who work with me, we can still fall into this trap, okay? We're humans. We have had years and years of wiring. So we will research diets, we'll ask friends what worked for them, we go all in on a plan, we don't address the real issues, and then we turn to food for solace, distraction, companionship. Okay, so is that what you do? Uh-oh. Clickety click. Oh, why isn't it working? Oh, here we go. Okay, oops. So this was me in 2018. And after getting resources and help from a life coach, I was able to lose 16 pounds, and I've been able to keep that 16 pounds off. 16 months later, I was able to lose 50 pounds, and I'm approximately 55 pounds down since this time. Okay. And it's all because I learned how to look at weight loss in a completely different way. And one of the things that was super helpful for me was that I realized that calories in, calories out don't work. Even though my doctor, who was a woman, a menopausal woman, said to me, and I was going through perimenopause, she said, well, Dara, you just need to eat less, calories in, calories out, and move more. That's what she said. So discouraging, so frustrating. And so and I'm going to say this, and I wish that we heard this more, but weight loss is just a symptom. So of a weight loss is a symptom of an unaddressed problem. So if I had a broken arm, this is a great way to think about it. If I had a broken arm and I went to the doctor and I said, "Oh, my arm is really sore and it's not working properly," and the doctor said, "Well, how does it make you feel? Or how does it feel?" And you're like, "It's in a lot of pain." So if the doctor just said to you, "Well, here's some Tylenol," then I would just be only addressing the pain of the broken arm. If the doctor never took an x-ray, never reset my arm, never like healed it, and then gave myself time to heal, I would just be constantly taking Tylenol and I would always have pain. So we as humans, we don't know how to feel our feelings. We don't know how to work through those difficulties. And so if you're here on this webinar, chances are you use food to distract yourself. You use food to avoid emotions, supplicate, to subdue things. And so the more that we can understand how we're misusing food and how we can actually use food to help us and no longer use food to distract ourselves, that's when we can lose permanent weight loss. That's when, oops-a-daisy, that's when life really gets exciting and awesome. And that is how I've lost this weight, and that's how I keep it off. Okay? And when I work with my clients, we learn emotional regulation. I know it sounds so fancy, but we learn how to regulate our emotions instead of avoid it. We know how to process our emotions. We know how to recognize our emotions. We can recognize, oh, I'm just feeling sad right now, and I want to sit with sadness. I don't have to go get the ice cream. I don't have to eat the chips. I don't have to do that because all I'm doing right now is I'm just feeling that really uncomfortable feeling. So when we do this whole fresh start, so of course it's January 14th. We're 2 weeks exactly into 2026. So we say, "Oh, I'm going to just wait till the beginning of the year, or I'm going to wait for the like Monday I'll start, or the next month." So why do we do that? Well, I've learned this, and this is what it looks like. So I will do better tomorrow. Today's just not my day. I will try harder. I will get better sleep. I just need to commit. I will listen to that podcast. Okay, in the Q&A, of these, which one do you do? Interact with me here. Tell me. Are you number 1? Oh, here, I'll just put that here. So who's number 1? I will do better tomorrow. Who's number 2? Today's just not my day. Who's number 3? I will try harder. Who's day number 4? I will get better sleep. What about number 5? I just need to commit. I'm going to recommit tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to just go all in. I'm going to re-listen to that podcast. Or are you number 7? All right. Put it in the chat. Okay, so Kathy says, I will try harder. I will do better tomorrow. I will get better sleep. All of the above. Yes. So now we're just playing mind games with ourselves, right? And we're making these pinky promises. Now, there is this, it's called the fresh start effect. And it was explored by behavioral scientists. So these 3 people. And they found this idea of temporal landmarks like the start of a new year, a birthday, or even a new week, or even like that. That's why a lot of people say, I'll start Monday. So what it does, and there's 3 different reasons how this fresh start effect looks. Okay. So the first one is a sense of separation. So here I have a picture of a new kitchen. So this idea of before and after, making it easier. Like before I was married, I did this. And now that I'm married, I do this. Or before I went to school, or before I turned 40, or before. So then you could you're separating yourself from that. Okay. So that's one reason. The next is a sense of self-worth or self-esteem. So this looks like our belief that we're capable of change sparking a surge of motivation. You're like, I can be better. And there's a lot of research about how dangerous self-esteem is because it builds on the back of somebody else. The next one, why we're drawn to fresh starts, motivational energy. So this idea of a clean slate, it makes sense of renewal. But what are the problems with it? What are the problems with saying before and after? And then I'm going to be better. Or like a clean slate. What are the problems when we do that? So the problem with that is that we are living a very dangerous, precarious life. Okay? And these are the three effects. So this all or nothing thinking. So there's a sense of release from the past mistakes. You're like, but as soon as I slip up, my brain convinces me the thing, be it a goal, the job, the relationship, is ruined. So it's very precarious. It's like you're walking on eggshells of your own life. That's really scary, isn't it? Okay, try to put your comments in the Q&A because I can't keep track of chat and Q&A. That would be awesome. Okay, Q&A. All right. So then because there's this all or nothing, then you just have to wait for a fresh start. No accountability or responsibility for owning our actions. Yes. Okay. And you're justifying it. Now, the next one, oops. Oh, I have to. Okay. So this slip and abandon cycle. So if I eat a single cookie while trying to stick to a sugar-free goal, my brain immediately writes off the entire day as a failure. So then what do? You binge the leftover candy, or maybe I was just at my sister's last weekend. She had tons of chocolate. And you promise, okay, I'm going to just eat all this stuff now. I'm just going to clean up my pantry now. I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff now. And then tomorrow I'll start again. So you have this cycle of abandoning your goals immediately when it messes up. And then the third observation that these clinical psychologists came up with is this idea of overloaded aspirations. So you have this obsessive tendency often drive you to set ambitious, rigid resolutions. You're like, no, 2026, I'm going to get my act together. I'm going to be so much better. And so you feel like you're putting a lot of energy and effort into something. And so then what happens though is you have these lofty goals and you're like, okay, I know I'm super committed to it. When they inevitably crumble, then you're back and you feel more shame. And we're going to go into the shame cycle pretty soon. That weight of failing makes you feel further away from the person you want to be. So I have this picture of this girl being like, wow, that where I want to go seems now further and further away from my reality. Okay, so what is your pattern? Are you the all or nothing? That would be A. Are the slip and abandon cycles? So if you make that little mistake, then you just like, forget it, I can't do it. That's B. Or C, overload aspirations. Like if I didn't hit my goal, you just go into despair. Or maybe you're all three, because we're all just human, okay? All three, yeah. So the problem with starting fresh is that you don't learn your unique pattern. Okay, we are all unique and different. We all grew up in different households, even as siblings. This is so fascinating to me. I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. So we all lived in the same house. We all had the same parents, but we are all super unique and different. How is that possible? Because each one of us makes a decision, and then we go down a road, and then we make another decision, and we go down a road. So I want you to think about a map. We could all start in the same place. You know, we've got Kathy here from Kansas. So let's say we all started out in Kansas, and then we all just started going down different roads. And some of us turned right, and some of us turned left, And eventually all the rights and lefts and all the rights and lefts and all the rights and lefts, eventually we're all in our own unique place. So if our dad said things to us like, oh, but in order for you to be successful, you need to get all A's. So now you're super stressed, you're super worried, so you work really, really hard at school, and school is terrible. Versus, this is a personal experience. So my parents always spoke to me about going to university. I spoke to my sisters about university, and some of my brothers. My parents never they never pressured them or never talked about going to university. Isn't that interesting? I was like, what do you mean? They always, my mom, but I mean, it was like either be a social worker or a teacher. But still, like that was my experience with my parents. That was not the same experience. And so I had these decisions were funneled by, I need to go to university. So now you get yourself in. So I want you to ask yourself, what is this for you? At these crossroads, what would you do? So let's go to even a simpler one where I'm sad, I'm lonely. What would you do? Would you go and get food? Would you go and read a book? Would you go and have a nap? Like what? Or did you just feel sad and lonely and then just went on your way? So we all have our own unique patterns in these crossroads. And just like this picture of the rut, then that just becomes our new normal. I drove my son drove himself to school today, but he's a beginning driver. And it's a little bit challenging driving with someone who's not very secure, right? It's very stressful for them. But within a year, it'll be no problem for him. Driving will be easy for him. But right now it's not, because he has to start automating these patterns. So you're coming to this webinar because you're like, hey, I struggle with my weight. I struggle with honoring my goals. It's because when we had these crossroads here, we would just make certain decisions. So some of us are procrastinators as a way to solve problems. Some of us are people pleasers. Some of us are perfectionists. Some of us are like easygoing. I don't know. But what is it for you? And the problem is, if the reason you feel stuck and you feel like you can't change is because you haven't learned that you are your own unique person, and you have created neural pathways that are like this, you guys, ladies. You have, so if you're who's the procrastinator? Who's the procrastinator? Put it in the chat. We have the triple P: procrastinate, people pleasing, perfectionism. So if that was your go-to of just procrastinating, right? I wrote this book. I did a people pleasing for sure, but also perfectionism. I was like, I have to be perfect. I have to be excellent. I have to, and I got so much reward from when I presented at, my singing. I got this wonderful award. My piano recitals. Okay. So these were all survival strategies of how we survived. And the problem is now they're so automated, they're a rut. That's just what we do. We don't even think about it. And so, of course, now it's a problem. Now, I want to teach you something about how the brain and the body work together, because if you don't understand, like it's like unfortunately, these rats ate there's this coating around the wires in our cars, and they're food based. And so unfortunately, rats can sometimes go in your car and they can chew on it, and then they can wreck your engine. So my husband and I are driving our son, a couple of our kids, to a basketball game, and the car is like doing these weird things, and we're like, what is happening? And so it wasn't until we opened up the lid of the car did we see that there was the problem, okay? And so when we understand what's going on in our own brain, then we can start seeing, oh, that's why, okay? So I want you to ask yourself, why did you procrastinate? Is it because you didn't want to get in trouble? You wanted other people to take the blame? Like, what was the deal? Okay, so we're right now we're undoing the proverbial like going in the engine of how the body works, okay? So our brain and our body are all connected. So here we have, this is our brain, and we have all of these pathways. And so hormones are like the little messengers that communicate with the body. So we have what's called the nervous system. So there's the sympathetic nervous system, which is always scanning for danger. So it's our fight, flight, freeze, and fawn response. Fawn is people pleasing, okay? So our lower brain is always looking for danger 5 times more than safety. That is how humans have survived all of the pestilences, all of the difficulties. You know, we even recently went through COVID and saw, you know, these threats. We have wars. And so our brain is always looking for those dangers. All right. So then we have, so, and it's connected. So if you are really nervous, for example, what do you start doing? You start sweating your armpits, right? Or your hands get clammy. Your heart starts beating faster. Your hearing is more intense because your senses are really heightened. You want to make sure that you're going to be safe. So if you're being followed by this, you know, a strange person, you're really aware. Okay, that's going to keep you safe. Now, if you're constantly in that state, then that's, you know, our cortisol is running through us, and that's why people get burned out. That's why we have, you know, all of these health issues, because it's not sustainable. So we have what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, and it's our ability to think about our thinking. All right, it's our ability to say, okay, what's really going on? So if we take a deeper look, oh yeah, freeze. And so the thing with freeze is that you tend to do what? You scroll, you eat, it's like a holding pattern. You don't take action. You're probably thinking a lot about your past. So with the sympathetic nervous system, your brain is always looking 5 times more for danger than safety. Like I said, your heart is racing, your hands can sweat, and then our parasympathetic nervous system, that's what I call like the CEO of our brain. So you can think from the past and apply lessons. You can be calm in your body and make informed decisions, right? You can take deep breaths and say, it's okay. I understand that this feels really dangerous, but we've been here before. We don't have to overreact. It's going to be okay. You value your own opinion more than others. And this is a really big one, because you know that your life, like when I say that you value your opinion more than others, oops, Daisy, you can say, oh yeah, remember that time when I was really worried that those girls were going to make fun of me because of my outfit? It's like, it's okay. I remember. That's just kind of teenage insecurity stuff. It's all right. But I like this outfit. This is more me. And I like that I'm being me. Okay. So when we understand the nervous system, and we have this sympathetic nervous system that feels like that's always scanning for danger, why do you think we eat food? What is one of the things that food does? Well, there's only 2 reasons we're overweight. One is we overeat. We eat more often than our body needs. And then the second is flour and sugar. So when we eat more than our body needs, when we have more food in our body, we don't have to feel as much. It's like same thing with sleeping. If we don't sleep a lot, then we're always in this constant state of exhaustion, so we don't have to feel as much. It's like a way to numb our feelings. Okay? And that's why sugar and flour have such an impact on us, because they are more significant. Okay? They pack a punch. You get more of a buzz from sugar and flour than you would from like chicken. All right? So I want you to ask yourself, why does eating a cookie become such a trigger for you? Why is that? What do you think? Well, let's say you eat the cookie and you have this thought, I want to be healthy. I can't eat the cookie to get to my health goals. I'm so weak. What's the point in trying? I'm such a loser. I'm out of control. Okay, I want you to think about how our brain is wired. So our thoughts create our emotions. So we have a thought, and then it'll have a chain reaction. And so if we're constantly saying things like, I'm such a loser, what's the point? When am I ever going to learn? I'm so pathetic. Then now you're feeling a lot of negative emotions. And if we weren't taught, for the most of us, we were not taught how to just feel the feeling, process it, just let it go. We were like, no. I mean, how often did your parents say, if you cry, I'm going to give you something to cry about? Right? It wasn't modeled that it's okay, it's normal just to feel feelings. So now you're having a whole bunch of negative emotions and it feels so terrible to eat that cookie. So the problem is, if we have a trigger like eating a cookie and then we have all these negative thoughts, and if we want to go fresh start, if we don't unpack the issue of what's really going on, then we'll just go back to this whole idea of, I'm a loser, I'm never going to learn, this is so pathetic. All right? Now, I want you to think right now, I want you to turn those cookie moments into insights. So for example, when is the last time you said to yourself, I'm not going to eat a cookie. I'm not going to eat sugar today. And then you ate it. What did you do? What was your reaction? So just think about that for a minute. Did you eat it and then you go into shame cycle? Did you go into the pantry? What happened? So let's think about, so let's go back to this idea of understanding your triggers. So according to Megan Neff, she has she's a neurodivergent clinical psychologist. She talked about 4 different ways of us to understand the triggers instead of avoiding them. The first one was to reflect, what are your values? What are your intentions? So if you say, I'm not going to eat the cookie, why is it that you don't want to eat the cookie? It's because you don't want to, because you want to have a body that's healthy and strong, right? That aligns with your values. You want to move towards your goal. So instead of saying, I'm such a loser, I'm so pathetic, you say, okay, I understand that I'm really struggling with eating food when I don't want to feel my feelings, but I'm not going to quit on myself because I do value the kind of life where I don't have to be carrying extra physical weight. Engineering your environment. She talked about the importance of, if you want to be someone who moves more, maybe you just have your running shoes out handy. If you want to move more or you want to learn, maybe you just put more books around your house. Maybe you don't have the TV front and center. Or maybe if you want to be more productive in your, like with quilting or whatever, being more creative person, maybe you put your phone away for a while. And you have rules like I do where it's like, my phone doesn't go in my room ever. And so then I can say, like, these are my spaces. And then also embracing the living in the gray, where it's like life doesn't always have to be all or nothing. So it's like, I eat the cookie. Okay, well, I don't have to wait till Monday to start again. I can just say, oh man, I ate the cookie. It's 3:00. Okay, it's okay. I'm sorry, Dara. Right? So when we think about the psychology of fresh starts, what I want us to look at is the difference between a diet versus science. Now, I want to look into what does the shame cycle look like. So for you, by the way, how are people feeling right now? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? How many of you, okay, so let's just take this a second. When you think about the cookie trigger, how many of you have done that where you'll eat something that you didn't want to, and then you say, I'm just going to start again on Monday, and then you don't think about why you did it? This is really important. I'm just going to slow this down for a second. Okay, you were at a crossroads, you ate the cookie, and you're like, I'm the worst, I'm a loser, what's wrong with me? I'm just going to start fresh on Monday. Versus, oh, girl, this is hard. You ate the cookie. Well, we don't have to wait till Monday. We can just say, why did you eat the cookie? Because you were sad, you were discouraged, you didn't know what to do, you felt bad. Okay, that's hard, right? So we're not going to react, we're going to respond. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. All right, so I just want to see where you're at. And so let's look at this shame cycle, because I'm here to provide some solutions and some help for you. So on this track, I want you to ask yourself, you say, I am not good enough. And if I was to say, most of us don't believe we're good enough. Most of us are constantly trying to prove that we're good enough. That would be my theme song, for sure. I'm never good enough. I feel like ever since I was a little girl, I could never clean my room good enough. I could never clean the toilet good enough. I could never do enough. My mom would always find something to criticize. And she just thought she was teaching me. But to have a healthy balance, you need to have 5 positive for 1 negative. My mom didn't know that. She just had the best intentions for me, right? So Kate says, I can sometimes pause to think about it. My restart tends to be next day if I don't process, or I might eat more and then stop, recognize what I'm doing. Yeah. So here we go. We have this shame cycle where you don't have success. You're like, I need to have success to feel good enough. So then you say, I need to be better to be happy or to prove myself. And one of the ways, and obviously the diet industry, marketing industry, they spend billions and billions of dollars of wanting us to never feel good enough about ourselves, to be dependent on their products, their offerings. Okay. So then you can choose weight loss. All right. So then you say, okay, in order for me to be better, to be good enough, I need to lose weight. But because I'm not good enough, I need others to tell me what to do. So then you go to some diet guru or plan on Pinterest or whatever that is, and you follow it to a T, and then you exhaust yourself with obedience. But remember what I said about the broken arm? Weight loss is just a symptom of unmet emotional problems. So then what happens is you ignore your own qualities, your own attributes. You don't bring in your own life experiences. You don't understand your unique, like one of you said, I procrastinate. Some of you said, I freeze. Some of you say, I do all 3. Like I procrastinate, I people please, I'm a perfectionist, right? So you don't recognize your own unique ways, and you don't address them, and then you don't have success, and then it just proves again, I'm not good enough. And you just go round and round and round. This is also another name for this is the hedonic treadmill, okay? So now what I want is to look at what would happen what would it look like to break this cycle? So one of my biggest successes, when people ask me, how did I lose weight? I said, I lost weight with my brain and my heart. And one of my favorite emotions was curiosity. Now, I wanted to share this really interesting fact. So 3M, they created Post-it notes by accident. They wanted this super strong glue, and it wasn't, but what they saw was it wasn't that strong, right? And so it would just be enough that you could just stick it to things. So even though it was an accident, it was a happy accident, like Bob Ross, right? So now you could have this adhesive designed for temporary notes. Corn flakes, that was an accident. So, but it's a gluten-free. I mean, obviously, it has some sugar and stuff, but they didn't intend to set out and say, "Hey, I'm going to make a cereal with corn." No, and the same thing with the pacemaker. It was an accident. So now we have a life-saving device developed from unexpected results. Now, why am I talking about this? Because they didn't say, I'm going to hide in shame and, oh, I made a mistake. I didn't make the right glue. They said, but wait a minute. Maybe we're onto something. So the more that we can understand, oh, I wonder why I keep turning to food. Oh, because I just don't feel good enough. But is that even true? Or that's an interesting strategy. It's not really working for me because I don't really like holding this, right? So I want to encourage you to get curious. And this is why weight loss made such a difference for me, because, and even every day I still do this. And I started this journey back in 2018 in the summer, but I step on the scale pretty much every day out of love and curiosity. I imagine myself wearing a white coat, like a lab coat, of being like, hey, what's going on? So when you're in this situation of feeling frustrated or discouraged, you can just pause and take a moment to breathe and just say, do I need to eat this cookie? Do I need to eat right now? Am I hungry? Right? So now we inquire about our feelings and thoughts. What's really going on? And then we can start collecting data, right? So we start thinking, oh, ever since I was a little kid, oh, no wonder. Okay, so for me, when I would come home from school, my mom had, she had my next three siblings were only like 2.5 years apart. They were really, really fast. And so my mom didn't have a lot of time for me. And so you know who was there for me after school? Peanut butter. Yep, I still remember it. Sitting on the cupboard, getting out a spoon, and just sitting with that peanut butter. Okay? So, oh, no wonder I like to eat peanut butter, because that was kind of like a connection for me after school. And I have good memories of that. Interesting. Does peanut butter actually give me what I need? And then we got to stay curious instead of judging, because we are all pretty judgy, right? When we think about this shame cycle, the first thing that we have to change is your worth as a human is already set. You don't have to lose weight to be better. Losing weight actually helps you have a healthier lifestyle, right? You don't have to go to the doctors as much. You have more energy. Like me not carrying an extra 55 pounds is really, really healthy for me, right? I don't have to carry it around. So there's lots of benefits, but as far as like my worth as a human, all of that has nothing to do with it. We don't have to prove ourselves. So I want you to stop abandoning yourself. I want you to start like staying with that discomfort and just being in your lower brain. You're like, lower brain, thank you for saying that this could be dangerous, but actually, no, it's not. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to grow from this. And then that's when we can start having our transformation. Now, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about curiosity. And for some reason, this thought came to my mind. So back in the day, for years and years, like they never thought psychologically or physically, they didn't think it was possible for humans to run a mile in under 4 minutes. And finally, in 1954, it was done. And one of the things that I thought was super interesting, so I live on Vancouver Island, and so that happened, and then it was by Roger Bannister, English athlete, and then just shortly after there was so that was in 1954, in England, and then there was the Commonwealth Games in Vancouver, and this is a statue of him, and there was now two guys. There's Bannister and Landy, and they ran the race, and both of them made it under 4 minutes. And now it's just totally normal. It's totally easy. 2 months later, They were in the Commonwealth Games and they were able to do this. And now it's just normal. So I think it's super helpful to think about when we, and this is what I love about my working with my clients. It's like they never thought it was possible to go out to dinner and not overeat. They didn't think it was possible to go out to dinner and not eat. They didn't think it was possible to have Halloween candy in their house and not eat it. Like, it's so, I remember even myself saying to myself, could I really be a person that doesn't eat Halloween candy or steal candy from her kids? Like, could I really be the person that doesn't like leave the table at Thanksgiving dinner with like having to undo my button? Could I really be that person? And that's what happens inside my program and the women I work with, because what we do with that self-limiting belief, like what we thought was, you couldn't run under a 4-minute mile, we have to look at your past behaviors. You have to, what did you do and why? The impact of our choices for good and bad, thought versus belief. We need to question it all. Now, when we do the fresh start, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to see what were those paths. So if I didn't start looking at peanut butter and thinking, oh man, that's really sad. I'm this little girl coming home from school and her mom didn't have time for her. That's kind of sad. So no wonder peanut butter and coconut and chocolate, because my mom had chocolate chips and she had baking chocolate in her freezer and I'd like gnaw on it, right? Because that was some sort of connection. Janine Roth said, anytime you eat, it's an attempt to take care of yourself. So if we always start fresh, we're never collecting data. We're never learning about our own unique strategies. I really want you to take that in.